thing I wanted before I start making a really good mess here is when I do this fly, it's a deer hair body, and most of the guys that tie it with a full yank of hair, and then they trim it, and they don't use the tips. Well, I've used the tips on some of them, and to me it looks better with the tips on it. I don't think the trout or the bass care about it, but it looks kind of neater. But as you can see, all this hair is just a little bit different as far as the tips and the color goes. This is a really nice hide, and it's got nice dark tips, and they're really defined tips. It's good, it's a little bit better. But for a bass fly, this hair is perfect. And they all have the same characteristics. They're nice and spongy.
Spin good.
For spinning. This is a weird one. It has a little crease in it. He must have been a fat boy.
A muley there.
But okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get started on this. I'm going to get a piece of this natural magnum strip. I'm going to go 2 times the length of the shaft. Get that off. And I know it doesn't make any difference, but I always like to put a point on the back. And then, for whatever reason they cut this fuzz off except for the last ½ inch. You can save this and use it for dubbing, but got storage for cans of dubbing somewhere. That's fine. Okay, that's not really neat, but good enough here. And I use, this is GSP. This is 100. You don't need to use 250 on this stuff, but
Gel spun.
gel spun, right? I'll put a little thread base on there. Go down right about in the middle of the point and the barb. If you lay it on this side, on your side, when you start wrapping it, then take tighter and tighter, get it nice and tight.
That gel spun's pretty slippery, isn't it?
Yeah, it'll slide around a little bit, but I cheat sometimes. I'll put a little bit of this 5-second
Super one.
Sally Hansen's nail cement. Okay. Now I get, this is 99-cent sheet of 2mm foam, and I cut it about the size of the gape of the hook, and I want to taper it the length of the hook. So let's do them right now. It's a little bit long, but okay. And then you cinch this one.
Is that the Sally Hansen hard as nails? Is that what?
No,
That's a different one.
like a super deep. Isn't that what
Yeah,
they
this
use?
is
Put artificial nails on or
a
something?
nail repair
Hold the bottle
cement.
up right in front of the,
Huh?
hold the bottle up right in front of the hook. There we go. Ray will zoom in on
See it?
everything.
5-second, whatever that is, brush on nail glue. Can you read that?
Yes. Sign acrylic.
Kind of? Alright, believe me. Okay, now I'm gonna put a little thread base on that. Okay, now I got the fun part here. This is a really simple fly. Till you get to this part, some people cringe when they get to the deer hair part. I'll take about a pencil and comb all the fuzz out of it. And if I was going to keep all the tips and everything, I'd use a hair stacker. Oh, I'll do this. I'll do a few like this. Actually, a little bit too much for that little stacker. See how nice that is as far as the tips and everything. I'll shift it over. I'm going to cut all that. Cut quite a bit off. I'm going to put it so I catch about maybe a 1/16 to 1/8 of an inch of the butts. Like this. I got two kind of soft wraps. Now I'm going to roll it all the way around. Okay. The hook is going to keep that. Got my neat little tool here. I keep it in a thing with
Steel wool.
steel wool. Yeah, there you go. Okay, now I'll free all this stuff up so it's all the way around the hook. That's the way I want to start it now. And I'm going to keep doing this until I get up to the top. Getting the fuzz off is the most important thing, because it won't be slippery around the hook shank. And I'm just going to go right in front of that. Take two wraps and then roll it on there. Okay. Then I like to put a couple of half hitches, and that keeps the tension on the hair, keeps it out there. And if you're not comfortable with doing as much as I do, you can do half of it. It just takes a little bit longer, but it's more manageable sometimes with some people. Take that.
You make that look so easy.
It is, Gene.
Enough of it, huh?
Easy for you to say, difficult for me.
I was doing some duck feathers, trying to marry them.
That's easy.
Yeah. Okay, that's real easy. Okay. Put that right up. Running out of hook shank here.
Oh, you got the hard copy?
So try to pack a little bit.
Just a little bit. Now, this takes me a little longer than if I just do it, if I trim the whole bug at the end, but it looks a little bit neater with the tip showing like this. Okay. Gotta make a little room for my tie-in point on my. Okay. No tail, got everything here. Now, this is a Velcro top on a chopstick that I shoved the needle on. So,
Oh, yeah, that's good.
yeah, and if you got any pieces of hair that you caught, this will pull it out. I kind of split that, like putting a part in there. And I'm just going to lay my scissors right in there and just cut a little of it off. You don't want to cut all of it off because what work you did. Okay, now I'm going to bring the foam up, and I'm going to try to preen all those wild and woolies back. Take a loose wrap. Make sure I get the eye of the hook. Oh, I did. Perfect. Take 1, 2, 3, and then put a little bit more force. Go underneath. Put a couple in there. Don't want to trim this off a little bit. I didn't bring my whip finisher. Okay, and when I pull down, I'll give that a little support so I don't rip it in my hand. Okay, now, I like the way it looks like that on top. Trim it out, a few of the booger ends there. Then the bottom, you see that all right?
Yep.
I'm just going to go right on the bottom, go back to the end of the hook. Try not to make any holidays, that's all. And I put a little bit of that 5-minute epoxy, or that 5-second nail glue, and that'll keep it from rolling. And that's basically, let me pass that around. That's basically the Morrish Mouse that I used the first day I went out in the Delta.